Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Village Board meeting of August 8th. Please join us in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, Mrs. Thomas.
Trustee Purcell.
Here.
Trustee Willis.
Here.
Trustee Colton. Here. Trustee Heiferman.
Here.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
Here.
Trustee Roman.
Here.
President Hofeld.
Here. Representing staff this evening, to my left, our village manager, Napoleon Haney. To my right, our village attorney, Chris Cummings. To the audience's right, our police chief, Denise McGrath. Finance director, Amy Zakowski. Public Works director, John Schaefer. And assistant village manager, Tyler Hall. The minutes of July 25th. Any additions or corrections? Trustee Purcell. Trustee Willis.
None.
Trustee Colton.
All good.
Trustee Heiferman. Trustee Harris-Jones.
Nothing for me.
Trustee Roman. May I have a motion to approve the minutes, please?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Colton, seconded by Trustee Harris-Jones. Roll call, please.
Trustee Purcell.
Abstain.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Abstain.
The minutes are approved. The claims list in the amount of $998,022.55. Again, comments or questions? Trustee Purcell.
Okay.
Trustee Willis.
Nothing for me.
Trustee
All
Colton.
good.
Trustee Heiferman.
No questions.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
No questions.
And Trustee Roman.
No questions.
May I have a motion to approve the items on the claims list, please?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Trustee Purcell, seconded by Trustee Roman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
The claims list is approved. Of that $998,000 claims list, 3 items comprised the bulk of that. Our payment to the City of Chicago Heights for water was $325,000. 1 month's August insurance premium for the village was $256,000, and our payment to Thorn Creek Sanitary District was $97,000. That amounted to $678,000, 68% of that claims list. Hear from the audience. If anyone would like to address the board on any subject not on the agenda, please raise your hand. Okay. It's coming, Karen.
It's coming, so not yet?
It's coming. Okay. At this time, may I have a motion to approve the appointments of Sylvia Alexander to the Beautification Committee, Peter Womack to the Fire and Police Commission, and James Anderson to the Firefighters Pension Board? May I have a motion, please?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Trustee Colton, seconded by Trustee Heiferman. Roll call, please.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
The appointments are approved. If the individuals would please come forward to be sworn in. No, not yet. Yes. It's just face.
Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name. Have you been appointed to the office of for the Village of Homewood? Solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States.
I support the Constitution of the United States.
Constitution of the State of Illinois.
Constitution of the State of Illinois.
And the municipal ordinances of the Village of Homewood.
And the municipal ordinances of the Village of Homewood.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
And that I will faithfully discharge.
The duties of my office.
The duties of my office.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much.
David?
Thank you so much.
Peter? Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Now, oaths of office for new village employees. Amy Zakowski for the position of Assistant Finance Director.
With Dennis Bubenek's retirement in May and my moving into the finance director role, the village was left with a vacancy in the assistant finance director position. We were fortunate enough to hire Lindsay Cabay. Her first day with the village was just yesterday, August 7th. She brings with her 5 years of municipal finance experience, and she holds a bachelor's and MBA from Lewis University. I look forward to her career here with the village. Come forward.
Now, come right up.
I state your name.
I, Lindsay Cabay,
Having been appointed to
been appointed to
the position of Assistant Finance Director
the position of Assistant Finance Director
for the Village of Homewood,
for the Village of Homewood,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the municipal ordinances of the Village of Homewood,
and the municipal ordinances of the Village of Homewood,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
So happy on board, Lindsay.
Mr. Schaefer? And this is a rarity. We have two James Andersons being sworn in tonight. James Anderson and James Anderson.
Will the second James Anderson please step forward? After a recent retirement of former street supervisor Bob Pettigrew, the village engaged in a full candidate recruitment and search to fill this critical position. After a series of candidate interviews, the village hiring team narrowed the candidate pool to 2 qualified candidates. James was selected as a top candidate and was offered the position of Street Division Supervisor and assumed this new role on July 24th of this year. James was hired as a Utility Division Supervisor, James Anderson was hired in the Utility Division on July 24th and has been an integral part of the Street Division since the start in 2017. James has graduated from the Illinois Public Service Institute in 2022. He also serves many years of experience in street maintenance, concrete, and snowplow operations. James has proven himself as an asset to the Homewood Public Works, and we welcome him into this new supervisory position.
I state your name.
I, James Anderson,
Having been appointed to
having been appointed to
the position of Street Division Supervisor
the position of Street Division Supervisor
for the Village of Homewood,
for the Village of Homewood,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the municipal ordinances of the Village of Homewood,
and the municipal ordinances of the Village of Homewood,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. It's Mrs. Thomas, the omnibus vote. Yeah. I remember.
Oh, this would be item number C.
I wanted to
Okay.
ask about that,
Sequence.
and I wanted to mention it.
Okay, we'll pull it. Go ahead, Mrs. Thomas.
The board is asked to pass ordinance MC 1076, amending the Homewood Municipal Code to clarify the designation and qualifications of managers where alcoholic liquor is sold. Liquor managers are responsible for the proper conduct of the premises and adherence to municipal code regulations. They undergo a criminal background investigation, including fingerprinting. The board is asked to pass ordinance M 2261 that will allow for the yield signs to be switched to stop signs at the intersection of Birch Road and Gottschalk Avenue. This request was raised by a resident. This intersection is near Willow School. Public Works staff surveyed the area and noticed several cars have failed to yield. The board is asked to approve a budget amendment allocating $30,000 of the American Rescue Plan Act funds for the downtown outdoor speaker project, waive competitive bidding due to sole source provider, and approve the purchase from Airnetics of Samara, Georgia, in the amount not to exceed $22,905 and $7,095 for unforeseen installation costs. The board is asked to approve a budget amendment allocating $177,203.88 of American Rescue Plan Act funds for the purchase of 3 vehicles and waive competitive bidding for an emergency purchase of 6 vehicles due to limited availability. The board is asked to approve the purchase of 4 2023 Ford Police Utility Vehicles, a Ford F-250 Super Duty truck with utility body, and a Ford F-150 XL work truck from Diorazo Ford. The vehicle purchases total $267,856.56, and the board is asked to approve $60,903.41 for additional equipment for the vehicles, decals, and upfitting of the vehicles. The total cost is $328,759.97, of which $177,203.08 is American Rescue Fund, and the remaining $153,200 is from the village's general fund. The board is asked to agree to have President Hofeld sign an intergovernmental agreement with Homewood School District 153 for a reciprocal reporting agreement on juvenile and criminal offenses involving students in accordance with state statute. The board is asked to waive competitive bidding and approve a budget amendment of $26,000 of American Rescue Plan funds for the Harwood Avenue parking lot, curb, and landscape improvement project. The village will be using Strata Construction, the current vendor already doing this type of construction work in the village. This work will include 650 feet of additional curb work along Harwood Avenue. The board previously approved a $119,010 contract with Strata. The amendment brings the contract total to $145,010. Board is asked to authorize President Hofeld to enter into 3 separate fiber optic right of entry and fiber optic carrier equipment point of presence agreements between Cook County and the village for fiber conduit to be installed on or about the village hall, fire and police departments, and public works buildings.
Thank you. Trustee Colton has asked that item C be discussed separately. Therefore, if anyone in the audience has any comments on any of these items other than item C, please raise your hand. Board comments on any items other than C?
Other than saying nothing.
Trustee Willis?
Yes, I have a question about item E, the reciprocal reporting agreement. And there's an indication that there is a state statute that governs reciprocal reporting. And my question is, if that's the case, why do we need to enter into an agreement?
So nothing in this agreement either limits or expands the scope of state statute, but part of the state statute requires that the school district draft this agreement. So if you look down to the 4th whereas on the first page of the agreement, It references section 10-20.14B, and 10-20.14B requires that the Parent-Teacher Advisory Committee, in cooperation with local law enforcement agencies, shall develop with the school board policy guideline procedures to establish and maintain a reciprocal reporting system. So the school is just complying with the statute requirements.
Thank you. And as you said, it does not expand or alter in any way the state.
Correct.
The superintendent of District 153 is here. Is there any comment you would like to make with regard to that?
Nothing other than the cooperation that we have with the police department has always been appreciated and necessary. And we work closely with Chief McGrath, Napoleon Haney. It's a great relationship in order to keep our community safe, promote the well-being of our kids. So we don't often reach out, but when we do, they're always there for us. And again, it's very much appreciated.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trustee Cole.
Yeah, I've got one issue on item D. I'm fine with it, I'm gonna vote yes, but I had asked some questions about it earlier to Mr. Haney. And just in terms of clarifying, because it's a lot of money, and I just thought it'd be interesting for the community to hear the sort of thinking behind why we're ordering all these vehicles right now.
One of the reasons is because we are not able to obtain the police vehicles. The police vehicles are a police package vehicle, which the dealers normally bid throughout the one time during the year. And normally one dealer in our area is awarded the state bid. It so happens that Duraggio Ford still has some vehicles available for police pursuit vehicles. So we contacted them. They are currently holding those vehicles for us based on the board's approval tonight. We also contacted some other dealers to see if they were able to get those vehicles, and they are not, even including our own, Homewood dealers that we have here. So that's why we're moving forward with that. We are having the same issue with the pickup vehicles of that nature to see what's available. We contacted our local dealerships here. They were not able to provide those same specifications. As you may also know, the Ford, one of the plants here just locally had shut down to basically one shift from 3 shifts, and it's because they're not able to get parts for the vehicles. So that's been a big delay. Also, if we were to go out, there's currently a waiting list or a call list of 20,000 vehicles with Ford, and that's typically who we use because we standardize our vehicles because of our maintaining parts and oil filters and things like that. We try to standardize so we're not maintaining a whole inventory of parts. That's 20,000 vehicles right now that is subject to be, once Ford opens it up. Ford plans on opening it up here in late August. They expect that call to be done close to 30,000 vehicles, and we figure it's probably going to be open for about an hour and then it'll close. And then the build time on that would be longer than possible 12 months or longer. So we searched around, we called numerous dealers to see if they had specifications that meet ours, the size and type of vehicle, and that's all in the board packet. All those places that we called and what was available and the cost of those vehicles. So the Duraggio was the cheapest out of all of them, and that's why we're going forward with that.
Well, thank you for all your work to put that together. That's a ton just to make up for the supply chain issues that we have. So I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, John. Trustee Heiferman.
Just a comment on G. I'm glad to see that we're taking advantage of county ARPA funds, and I hope we continue to keep our eyes open for other opportunities.
Trustee Hairston. Trustee Roman.
Nothing to add.
I have a motion to approve all of the items on the consent agenda with the exception of item C.
So moved. Second.
Then moved by Trustee Purcell, seconded by Trustee Willis. Roll call, please.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
That portion of the consent agenda is approved. Item C, trustee Colton, you had questions?
Yeah, no, I wanted to, actually, maybe can we open it up to the audience first?
Beg pardon?
Can we open it up to the audience first? Because I think there's people here who showed up to speak on their opinions on it.
Karen, I know you've been sitting in that chair and you're doggone it. Come on. Karen O'Donnell, 180,
181,
yeah, Martin,
18114 and 18124, Martin, so it's right down the street.
former neighbor.
Yep, we miss you very much, we miss you. So, yeah, Karen, if I haven't had the pleasure of meeting you, Karen O'Donnell. Been a Homewood resident, except for some young adult years, since 1955. I'm not that old, but I was here. Been in a dentist in Homewood since 1984, and in the building on the corner of Martin and Hickory down the street since 1995. So we're here to talk about the speakers a little bit that are on all downtown, but particularly on Martin and Hickory by our building. Our building has absolutely no retail. Well, the history of it, when the speakers first came up, when I first saw them, I stayed in my lane. I didn't say a thing because I thought, well, I wonder why they're there. And I wondered whose idea it was, because I don't remember us ever getting a survey or notification. And then we have a lot of festivals on Martin. So I thought, well, that kind of makes sense for when they have the festivals. It's kind of nice if there's music, but a lot of times the festivals have their own music that they brought in too. And then all of a sudden, a few years ago, the music started playing all day. And it's like, well, that's interesting. Because it's not even music I would play in my dental office. But so it was interesting. It still sort of stayed in my lane on that. I do have windows on both sides of the building, on the east and the west side of the building. And usually on my side of the building where I reside, which is the parking lot west side, don't always hear them, but sometimes just go out to the dumpster and it's like, man, those are loud. And there was one time we had an incident that they stayed on loud till after midnight, and people in the building were losing their mind. Everybody was up and just going a little nuts, and we couldn't get them turned off until Monday because nobody could get. We even visited the police about it to see if we could quit disturbing the peace. So it's interesting, and then with the help of my friend Rich Hofeld, who I admire and respect, after it got a little crazy for a while, he did have them turn down the speakers in front of our building. And it was, thank you very much, we appreciate that. There's no retail, 16 apartments, one neighbor who couldn't be here tonight. I can't repeat exactly what she said in the language that she used, but she said, I do have to turn down my TV because turn up my TV because the speakers are so loud. We have really flimsy, thin windows there. So, but then they start to creep back on again. And then maybe not soft, but then they're on, and they're on all day. I got a massage on the other side, we walked in the massage, it's like, why are there speakers on? Today I had a new patient who parked on the Martin side instead of the parking lot side, and she said, she got out of the car and she goes, where's that music coming from? And then her next question was, why? And she's like, that's kind of creepy. And she brought that up as soon as she came into the office. So just a little curious about that, what the purpose is and why, and also curious about the money that might be spent to go further. I did go shopping at Van Sintma's the other day, and the speaker was blaring outside their business, just absolutely blaring for whatever reason. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how can you stand it? But their windows are thicker, their door is thicker, so inside you could only hear their music. You couldn't hear the outside music. And when I talked to somebody there, she said, I think it's our fault because one Christmas they put a speaker outside for Christmas. That's another thing the patient said. She goes, is this one of these towns that starts playing Christmas music in October? And I'm like, I hope not. So when I saw that it was on the agenda that somebody wants to expand the speakers and go further and spend a lot of money on them, my first question is why? What's the purpose?
Karen, your time is running out.
Oh, it's running out. So but why? So my suggestions are, 1, take the speakers down, especially on Martin and Hickory. 2, move them to Dixie. If you want to expand, use those same speakers and put them on Dixie where they're not in somebody's apartment building. 3, the people who dreamt this out and like the speakers, put them by your bedroom window for 30 days. And 4, take down the speakers of Martin and Hickory. Thank you for that. I'm a woman of many words. Thank you for your time. Because I'm also the producer and host of Homewood Stories. It's now in its 10th year that brought storytelling to the South.
It will
End.
cost you to get a plug in for that.
Thank you.
Sure. Mr. Haney?
So, and I appreciate Karen, before we get to.
We have 2 more people that want.
Yeah, we'll
Yes,
get to
absolutely.
them.
But just want to provide some context to the downtown speaker system. Been wanting to think that it was just a wild idea that somebody came up with. Staff was asked in 2019 to try to figure out a way to bring some additional vitality to our downtown, to bring some more additional enhancements. We care about the downtown, we care about our downtown businesses, and we wanted to draw more people downtown. You know, people that got off the Metro train that came through to kind of enjoy the experience downtown. So one of the ways that staff was asked to take a look at this was through music. And Tyler has a lot, Tyler can share. We've done the research, we've done a comparative analysis. There are a lot of communities, a lot of cities, a lot of small towns that do music in the downtown for that specific purpose, to enhance that experience downtown. So that was our goal. So staff was asked to take a look and do some comparative analysis. We looked at some other communities, we looked at some vendors, and we did an RFQ or RFP, and we came up with the vendor that we currently have. We were able to put roughly 16 speakers in the downtown, Chestnut, Martin Avenue, and it was a success by all accounts. We raved wonderful feedback from the speakers. Oh, it was a great downtown. We had people from out of town during our winter events. Oh my gosh, you guys have beautiful music, Christmas music playing in the downtown. So just wanted to provide some context, and Tyler could share what we're trying to do moving forward, what we're working maybe.
Yeah, so the original speakers were approved in September of 2019, and then they were installed in December of 2019. And then part of the kind of collaboration between elected officials and staff regarding ARPA projects in late December of 22 and early January 23, the extension of the downtown speakers was kind of discussed and approved, and ultimately was approved in the budget that was passed in late April of 23. The new speakers are planning to go down east of Ridge into the post office, and then south on Dixie into Olive, Dixie and Olive. The vendor that we use, Airnetics, they are kind of a leader in this space. They have over 165 municipal clients across the country, and they have 5 in Illinois. And then there are also several other communities in Illinois that use a different provider, but still have downtown speakers in their community, including Tinley Park, Bolingbrook, Pontiac, Naperville, Chicago, Oswego, Glen Ellen, Kirkland, and Ottawa. So there are many communities out there that have this similar type of project, which is why we're comfortable presenting this and recommending this based on elected official feedback, the research, and then just kind of phase 2 to the initial project that was in September of 2019.
Can you tell us a little about this research?
John, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought.
You'll have your time.
Oh, yeah, so that's kind of where we are here. If there are any additional questions about how they're operated, how the music selection is done, I'm more than happy to answer.
All right. Talking about amenities for downtown areas, I've gone over many studies on it. And what they recommend in downtowns are seating with benches, which we have, public gathering place, which is Martin Square, water features and fire features. We have the fountains on either side of Martin Square, and we also have a fire pit by what had been Homewood Florist. We have restaurants in the downtown. They recommend that. Lighting, we certainly have the Tivoli lights that go down Martin. They recommend also stores being open in evenings and weekends. Some do, some don't. They recommend trees and landscaping, art, murals, and music. Those are all of the amenities that make a better downtown. In our downtown, in addition to that, the features we do to enhance the downtown and really help the merchants is our Public Works Department shovels the sidewalks. We plant flowers. We have hanging baskets, snowflakes, the streetscape, music, the rail park and platform, and we'll soon have a new metro station. We have all of our events in the downtown area, parking signs, a science center, performing arts, and apartments, which bring people in for vitality to help all of the businesses. So these are some of the things that the village has done in the past and we continue to do to enhance our downtown. Now, other comments? I do. Go right ahead.
I just have one comment.
Can you?
Sure, come right up.
My name is Melody Locke, and I live at 18114 Martin also. And I am facing the parking lot area. I understand that, I don't have as much of the issue with this as far as the noise. But my question is, I think, when you put surveys out to find out, I know you mentioned about staff, you talk to the staff and employees, et cetera. But what about the actual residents above the different stores in the downtown area? Have you talked to them to find out their attitude about the music? And also, you know, if you are going to have the speakers, can they be cut off at like 6 p.m. when the store is closed? Most of the restaurants here, you know, might be open till 10, but even so, I don't, you know, people are inside, they're not outside listening to the music. So to me, I just think it's something that needs to be considered as far as, you know, when you shut them off and talking to more residents in the downtown area.
I think those are good valid points. What are the hours of operation, Tyler, for the speakers?
Yes, so on Monday through Thursday and on Sunday as well, they turn on at 11 a.m. and they turn off at 7 p.m. Then on Friday and Saturday, they go to 9.
We might want to look at that. Okay. John, you had a question?
Yeah, well, I'd like to speak.
Go right ahead.
I'm sorry, my name is John White. Sorry, I didn't mean to catch you by surprise. I thought I would ask that. My name is John Watkins. I also live on Martin, 18114. And I'm also speaking for another, Linda Prashuk. I'm not actually sure how to pronounce her last name, but she lives at Ridge and Martin and asked me to read her concerns kind of informally. Her concern is that she's often working from home, more often than not, and she needs to close windows not only for work conference calls but also in evenings to watch television. Also, she's concerned about not being able to have her windows open to enjoy fresh air. And not only from the corner of Martin and Ridge, but even on her deck from speakers on Martin by the Science Center, which is behind her apartment. And she'd prefer not to have the speakers at all. So that was for her. Part of my reaction to some of the things that were said about enhancing user experience, et cetera, I'm well versed with all that. I have a master's in user-centered product design from IIT. And yeah, we're always talking about enhancing user experiences and that sort of thing. But the problem is, if you aren't paying attention to all the users, that is a big problem. And for instance, you talked about having received wonderful feedback from people, but those are all people who don't live around the area, or they're people who work for the village. Their salary depends on their job, and they're going to say what they think should be said. So I think that is a real problem. Sorry, my mouth is really dry. So correct? Yeah.
Get you with the water.
I didn't think to bring some water, so that's good. So I feel like these speakers are an unreasonable intrusion into the lives of people who live downtown, and it's basically a disturbance of peace. When they're on, we can't open our windows to enjoy breeze. Even when the windows are closed, we have to turn the TV up. It's like, you're watching a movie and there's a quiet spot and you hear, I don't know, some country song coming into your apartment and everything. This is not a call for moderation or turning down the speakers. The speakers don't belong there. The reason is the village has no business putting those up and appointing themselves DJs for the people who live downtown. We're all adults. We can make decisions on what media we would like to consume. And it smacks a little bit of the telescreens of 1984 that you could, the book, George Orwell's 1984, you could turn it down a little, but you couldn't turn it off. And I feel that,
I'm running out of time.
Okay, thank you. That's my warning. How much do I have now? 30 seconds or so?
You're past it.
Okay. Well, I'm talking for two people also. I just feel like we all have radios and TVs. We can make our own decisions And as my neighbor said, people who disagree with this should probably have one of these speakers outside their apartment for 2 years, 3 years, like we've had. So, okay, thank you.
It'll be $1 for the water.
I just wanted to say.
Yes, ma'am. Come on up. Come on up, please. Take your time.
I work with risk management. My name is Valletta Gary, and I'm very concerned about the house at 18853 Julane Drive. He has 7 garbage cans full of garbage, and there's urine in them. I took a lot of pictures, and I have
Ma'am,
his.
This is a discussion on an agenda item.
Oh.
But you have
I'm
a concern, would you please, well, after the meeting, Mr. Haney will get the information from you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Sorry
you.
for the interruption.
No, that's all right. That's okay. Yes, ma'am. Sure, go right ahead.
Hi, my name's Maggie Goslin. I am a Homewood resident. I don't live downtown. I live closer to James Hart. But I
You don't hear the music over there, do you?
No, thank God. I don't actually understand the expense. Like, I get that you want to make the downtown area more attractive for people to hang out, right? More people hanging out means more business, means more revenue, all of that. The fire pit, that's a great idea. Like, invest the money in another seating area where people, I mean, you always see people around that fire pit, but the music, I just don't get it. And like, to me, the one time that it really speaks to anything is during like the holiday season around Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever your winter celebration is. When people are downtown shopping a lot and that sort of thing, and it's festive and blah, 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 but like, we've already got the speakers there. Why expand on it? Like, if we're gonna spend $30,000 as a village to try and entice people, I would rather see something that's gonna bring people together, like in a group setting, as opposed to, you know, just being bombarded with whatever sound stimulation that you may not want. So, just my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Susan?
Thank you. My name's Suzanne Rickman, and I live in Homewood. I've lived here for, I don't know how long, 30 years or so. Well, 2 little comments. One, I'm a musician. I'm a classical musician. I like classical music, and I really don't like pop music. So when I'm in public spaces and I have to listen to that kind of music, I kind of resent it. Just a little comment there. But also, I was just curious, just an item of curiosity, why a lot of these items were, the competitive bidding was waived.
On the other items?
A couple of them said non-competitive bidding or something like that.
Coming?
Well, I think as far as the vehicles are concerned, we're kind of off topic here again.
Yeah.
But as far as the vehicles are concerned, the reason that waived competitive bidding is because there were barely any vehicles to purchase in the first place. The other point is that the vehicles, the village just isn't buying vehicles to buy vehicles, they're replacing vehicles that are worn out. So that was the reason for the competitive bidding there. As far as the landscaping is concerned, once again, the cost of rebidding something as opposed to using an existing contractor that's there for an additional $26,000 seemed to make a lot more sense. I mean, the village, I don't get involved in the bidding process, but from the village's standpoint, they're always trying to make sure that they're getting the best price possible. And by the time you recycle that and go back and rebid it, you're probably looking at another season. Hopefully that parking lot on the other side of Harwood finally opens up again and part of the problem now is it's very hard to get out of that parking lot and get into the downtown area because of all the construction, but also the trees and all the other stuff that's there. Maybe Mr. Schaefer can
And Chris, so ma'am, also, the state statute requires municipalities to competitively bid any items over $20,000. So for us to do certain things, a lot of times, because the vehicles aren't readily available to bid, the board has to waive competitive bidding to allow staff to actually purchase outside of that process.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just want everybody to be clear, this, the concrete work was bid out this year. We normally bid out concrete work for curb replacement, sidewalk replacement, from our water main breaks, from curb that's bad or sidewalk is bad. So this was bid out. We're just basically extending, adding some quantity to their current contract. We had several, 3 bids before that the board awarded for the initial work. We're just actually adding quantity to his contract instead of going out and rebidding. And he's, you know, the way concrete prices are going nowadays, if we probably went out and rebid this, it would be a higher price. The other part of that is there's another phase to this that we're looking at. That will have to be bid out because it's a different type of concrete work that we hadn't previously bid. So that will be a separate bid like we normally do. And that gets advertised in the newspaper, it's put on the website. There's a set of specifications that are put together, estimated quantities, and then we look at the, everybody, it's a sealed bid, set for a bid opening date and a time. Those are opened up in the public, and then from there, those recommendations are made to the board on how we do this. For this, to extend those quantities on this, we had to actually waive competitive bidding. It's just part of our purchasing policy and statewide we're doing.
Okay, getting back on track, Mr. Fishman.
All right, hello, Mark Allen Fishman. I'm at 1131 Hickory Road. Do not hear the speakers, so thank God, I guess. I mean, of all the money you're spending here, and it's great to hear that you're taking advantage of the funds that the government has earmarked for all of this, you know, post-pandemic spending and whatnot. I tried looking up where, now I'm not saying that you didn't buy these things per whatever agreement they had there, but I'm looking at the bullet points on the United States websites that are listing what you spend this money on. And the closest I could think of is where it says invest in water, sewer, and broadband infrastructure. I think there's ways you might be able to finagle a speaker in there, but you have $30,000 that you want to spend to add more speakers when clearly some people here living around in the businesses. And I can tell you, I just had a meeting with somebody at Redbird last week, and the music was interesting. Didn't make the conversation any better or worse, and it didn't definitely make me feel like I needed to shop. But $30,000, you could increase broadband infrastructure. I'm sure I would sooner take free Wi-Fi in the downtown area before I would take a speaker playing music. But again, it's a drop in the bucket for all the money you have to spend on vehicles and everything else coming up. So no real question so much as just suggestion. If money can be earmarked for something like water, sewer, and broadband, I can take some pictures of my sewer backing up a lot.
Thank you. Any other comments with regard to this subject? If not, board comments. Trustee Colton, you asked that this be deferred.
Oh, I'll go first. My concern with this really has more to do with how this decision was made, because I don't think we've really fully, or in some cases at all, engaged the community. Because this isn't something where you can measure it by like, are we saving money or are we getting more value or whatever. This is really an opinion thing. And I think we're missing a step. And the step is what's happening right now, which is everybody's weighing in. But the problem is that we're gonna vote in like 2 minutes. And so we don't have time to process what people are saying. We don't have time to consider it. Staff can't go out and make adjustments and say, okay, well, maybe we'll turn it off at this time, or maybe we'll do this. I'd like to see that step happen. And this seems to me, we'd spoken a couple meetings ago about the possibility of a committee of the whole.
After Labor Day.
And I think this seems like a perfect topic for that, so people can come in and speak their mind. We can talk about it as trustees, and as staff can weigh in, and we can make a decision that's gonna work for the whole community. Because like I spoke with the president of the Homewood Business Association, and no one had reached out to them. And like, they're right there, you know, and they represent people who work downtown. I feel like they should have been asked. And then if nobody comes to our meeting, then that's their decision and it's fine. Like, I mean, like, I get it that maybe people will come and maybe they won't, but I think we need to make a really, really good effort to get them here. So my suggestion is I would love to table this vote for tonight, have some more conversations about it, and then take it up again once we do the committee of the whole.
Trustee Purcell.
I didn't realize that you were gonna ask for it to be tabled too, because I kind of had the same, same thoughts and feelings. I think that, I mean, I enjoy the music. I enjoy music anytime, anywhere. I think that it is a nice little enhancement to walking around downtown when you're, you know, doing things and whatnot. But I also understand when people who live around there, you know, the annoyances that it's causing you guys. And I don't think that we have ever talked about it with everybody. And it's a lot of money to spend. Mr. Fishman, in regards to your comment, they did, and I had to look into this too, because I wanted to see what that money would have to be earmarked for. And I asked, and it was opened up last year to pretty much anything. So it doesn't have to be like, oh, you're trying to, just so you know, to finagle something into something, you know. But I really like it, especially around the holidays, you know, like we've talked about. But I do think that this is something that needs to be talked about with people who live around it and who have to listen to it. You know, if it's not your thing, you know, maybe there is something that we can come up with, you know, some type of an agreement between everybody and to where it would work out. But I'm not comfortable voting on this tonight. You know, I would really like to talk about it a little bit more.
Trustee Willetts.
Okay. I'm initially, you know, I thought, well, music in downtown sounds like a great idea. You know, seems like a pleasant experience. But I also hate hearing people are miserable in their own homes. And that's gotta be frustrating, and I think that's tops any pleasant experience I have walking down the street. So I would like to, I do think discussing it more seems appropriate.
Trustee Heiferman.
If we were voting on it as it stands, I would support it only because I want to maintain infrastructure as it exists, and that's really all it asks of us. So, but personally, do I enjoy the music? There's times I do, there's times I don't. But I also agree that we need to find ways not to annoy somebody who's being annoyed by it. If we table it tonight, I'm happy with that, happy to discuss it as a group. But if we vote on it as presented, I would support it.
Trustee Harris-Jones.
I think we should table it also, so we can hear what our residents' concerns are.
Trustee Roman.
As Trustee Purcell was speaking, I was like, that she's taking the words right out of my mouth. I enjoy the music very much, but I'm not forced to listen to it all day long. I was forced to listen to a neighbor's music for a long time, and it was extremely frustrating. So I can imagine how frustrated you all are. And I have done, like in the last, since this agenda item originally came on the agenda, I just started asking people throughout the community, what do you think of the music downtown? And overall, everyone seemed to love it. They thought it was great. They thought the ambiance was something that I heard a lot. But what I was sitting here thinking was, I didn't ask anyone that lives downtown. So, and to Trustee Colton's point, we have to vote on this in 2 minutes. And I was sitting here thinking, oh gosh, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I also don't want our community, and especially when we're interested in bringing more residents to the downtown area, why would we be putting something in that's irritating specifically our downtown residents? So I would also support tabling this and at least hearing from the residents that it directly affects.
All right, okay, go ahead.
So
The majority of the board wants to table it. We're looking at the motion for that.
So the motion you'd be looking for is a motion to postpone consideration of item C to a later date.
May I have such a motion?
So moved. Second.
Been moved by trustee Purcell, seconded by trustee Colton. Roll call, please.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Aye.
Trustee Roman.
Aye.
Motion is approved. Thank you all. General board discussion, trustee Purcell. Trustee Willis. Trustee Colton.
As always, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. This is democracy at work, and we really appreciate hearing your voice.
Trustee Heiferman.
I have nothing other than to say it's nice to see people commenting on this.
Trustee Harris Jones.
Appreciate all of you all coming out, voicing your opinion. We appreciate it all.
Trustee Roman.
Thank you all for being here.
Okay, you can work on your teeth all right. It'll be all right. With that, may I have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Then moved by trustee Roman, seconded by trustee Colton. Roll call, please.
Trustee Purcell.
Aye.
Trustee Willis.
Aye.
Trustee Colton.
Aye.
Trustee Heiferman.
Aye.
Trustee Harris Jones. Trustee Roman.
Aye.
We stand adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.